Thank you for joining us on Diaspora Lounge today. If you are new here, thank you. I'm very happy that you came across our channel, and we hope that you become a regular viewer. And remember to go in our video library, take a walk around, see what resonates with you. Come back in the comments and give us your comments so that we can further these conversations. And if you're a regular viewer of our channel, you are highly appreciated. Thank you so much for being here again today. We love having you around. All right, so today we are going into a very, do you know that the truth is that this has become like a contentious subject matter. The topic is, as you see, there are many good marriages, and we want to talk about how. We want to talk about proof that there are many good marriages, and want to talk about how these marriages have come to be. And I'm sure in the course of the conversation, we will see how we got around to the unsatisfactory ones, because people are having a struggle with this, and it's understandable. It's painful. I am sorry. And even though I am a champion and a billboard holder of the fact that there are many good marriages, it doesn't mean that I haven't experienced issues. I want us to go into this and talk about it candidly, because that's what we do here. We talk in a candid manner because we all want to learn and do better. Okay, I'm just going to play the intro and then we'll get into the conversation.
First thing you want.
What have I done wrong? What have I done wrong? Come on, go.
First thing you want to do is to regain your power.
And it takes two to tango.
Oh my God, you need to see what she's going through. The husband broke her neck.
Right, you guys heard me in the intro. Incidentally, just before we started the program, about 40 minutes before now, I got a phone call and I got a chat message. And those people were talking about the difficulty of having a happy and monogamous marriage. And I found it strange because nobody knew that this was the topic we were going to be doing today except you guys. And I said to them, we're going to do this topic today. You might want to come and pay attention to it. I believe that people hold the opinion that they do about marriage all around us because of the things that filter through, especially now that we have social media and everybody's hearing about things that are happening in other people's lives. So I do see also that there are so many people talking about issues, relationship issues, marriage issues. And my take from that is that the more that you hear these things, the more convinced you are that it's difficult to have a good relationship. But you see, I say that the reason you're going to believe that is because you've had an experience. And when you see something that seems to confirm what you've experienced, you almost feel as if, yeah, you see, it's valid what I'm thinking and what I'm saying. But then again, I want to remind us that the good marriages, you don't, okay, here's what it is. If someone is having a problem, they are the ones who are going to shout and speak out and say, hey, look at the problem that I'm having. How do I solve this? Or what is going on here? If I am happy where I am, I don't have to come and shout and say to you, hey, I am happy where I am. Do you know how I got there? You know, because it may not even occur to me to come and talk about it. I'm talking about good and happy marriages and relationships. Sometimes people are thinking if I talk about my own happy and good relationship, it's almost as if I'm telling them that they are stupid for not being able to do it right. Or I may be drawing attention to myself and calling in envy and jealousy. Do you understand what I mean? So it's easy to understand why you hear so much. And even on this forum, when we talk about bad relationships, I sometimes feel like, am I helping to promote this bad image? But we have to talk about those things because we want to learn from them so that other people can understand how these people got here and be able to avoid this for themselves. Guys, please take it away. What do you have to say about me coming out and shouting that there are many good marriages? And now we want to talk about how people get these good marriages.
Akin.
Tony, okay. Maybe my being absent in the last few episodes, maybe it gives me the lead to talk on this. What I say to people is that the statistics itself tells you that there are good marriages. I mean, one of the statistics of the coming to the conclusion that whether majority of marriages are bad is the divorce rate. And even the divorce rate, no matter how high it looks like, is always less than the success rate, as in the on divorce rate. You can say, okay, in a place, oh, 100 people are married, there's 30% divorce rate. But what the story is not telling is the fact that there's 70% on divorce rate, which we have got to stress. And that leads me into this factor. Uh, we must understand that we are not trying to promote negativity in marriage or trying to say that if you come against or if you experience negativity or the negative aspect of marriage, then maybe the next thing is to bolt out. Now, in marriages, there are actions and there are consequences. Sometimes the actions are taken happen actually even before the marriage or during the marriage, and they lead to certain consequences. And there are also inactions in marriage or before marriage that also have consequences. So, what we are basically trying to say to people is that watch out for these actions, these inactions, these characteristics. You understand me? So that you can have a better marriage. We are in no way saying that, oh, all marriages or majority of marriages are bad. But we know that there are people who are in marriages that are not productive, that they probably are in hell rather than in bliss. So what we're trying to basically say is that look out. That these and these and these and these are the things you need to look out for, so that in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, your relationship will not suffer this. And it is not about us being saints or being perfect. Each person who wants to be true to themselves will tell themselves that they have had one or two challenges in their own marriage, even more than one or two. You understand? Some marriages have gone to the almost to the brink of collapsing until the two participants wake up and say, this thing is more valuable to us than the way it is going. And they make adjustments, they make compromises, and they just work their way back to the way they were before. Maybe not 100%, maybe 80%. But the issue we need to address is that it is not to want to opt out of a marriage because certain things are going wrong. Certain things might have gone wrong because you allowed it to fester, because you didn't address it in the beginning. Certain things might have gone wrong because you blinded yourself or you blindsided yourself to that issue at a certain stage in the relationship, to the point that it now has become a problem and you did not address it, or you were not true, or both of you were not true, or one of you was not true to each other. You understand? So those are the issues. But it's not to say that any simple thing, then the next thing is you want to, because there are people who have gone through worse things that you might be going through in your marriage, and down the line, because they persevered, because they made compromises, because they decided to lead a more understanding life, their marriages are better today than the way they were 5, 10 years ago. So
Okay. May I quickly make an interjection before we go on to Tony? Akin has spoken this way. Akin, you said a lot of things that are making my heart bubble out of joy. But there is a part that I'm not going to align with you on. And that's the fact that somebody listening to you,
yeah.
I think I took from what you said that you are doing your best to make sure that people do not think about breaking up a marriage. I know that you stand firmly and strongly on that. So do I. But I also must say that there are places and times when it just cannot work, and that's what it is. So what I would like us to do here is to not think that we're here to encourage you to stay in something or to encourage you to break it. we want to look at this candidly from both sides so that we can make better sense of this. So I'm not standing on any side. I'm standing on the side that works for us after we have put our minds and our truth to what is happening and told ourselves the truth and owned it. That's what I would like to state. Because I want you to know that we're not being partial here in our thinking. Okay. Okay, so Tony, what do you have to say to start with?
Yeah, I mean, Akin touched on very vital issues. Like he hit the nail on the point on every subject that he brought up. I'll
Go
be
deeper,
approaching.
go deeper, go deeper
y-
and touch those things so that people can understand.
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of like delve a little bit into it. One, when we talk about mutual understanding, a lot of people have different ways of understanding things. What I understand might not be the way my partner understands it. Let's say, for instance, a popular cartoon where you have a 6 and a 9, or you know what I'm talking about,
Yeah.
or is it
Upside down, 6 and 9 or something.
upside down thing. From my perspective, that is correct. From the other person's perspective, that is correct. But until we have to come to a compromise to really see that, oh, come from my side, just turn yours off, and then we'll look at this. And then turn mine off, we'll look at this. Oh, that's where we are getting wrong. This is the problem. This is one of the problems about marriages. It's not that there's no understanding or respect, but the thing is, how do we understand this one particular thing that we are both viewing at the same time? So if
Can
both
I give you
partners,
a hug and a kiss? Oh my goodness.
sorry,
There should be enough emojis there.
huh?
Absolutely.
She
Yeah,
said she wanted to give you a hug and a kiss.
because
Oh,
that is what it is. We're going to have to repeat that in a different way so that anybody who doesn't catch it, we'll make sure that they catch it.
yeah. Yeah, so that is just one part or one segment of my understanding about why people end up in a very tough situation. Now, if we are both having this I mean, that's when you're married and you're seeing this. From my point, even before you're married, these are when stuff like this should be trashed. Another thing is expectations. What am I expecting from my partner, or what is she expecting from me? Now, if we go into a marriage with high expectations, this, without saying it, without voicing it, but I know that that has to be this way, because this is a contract of two different identities coming together. And when we come together, we have to look at this. I mean, look at other normal business contracts. People look at the contract that's being written, and then if it's okay, we sign it and we say, okay, now we are bound by this contract. We are bound by this contract to be together based on what we signed. Any other thing outside of that it doesn't matter. It's just not part of the contract. So if we are looking at marriages as a contract thing, I'm not saying it is. It's kind of a contract. But if we look at it or approach that subject from that point, we can begin to eliminate a lot of problems that ensue when the actual marriage, or when we step into it 3, 5 years along the road. It's not that 3 years, 5 years along the road, other things cannot come back. But that's where we can now stand to resolve things that are outside of the contract and have a way to remedy some of them. Now, the other one I look at is look before you leap. The look before you leap syndrome. Before you even think about marrying, you must have thought something about it. Look before you leap factor is for us today, because I remember back days when our parents used to look for people for us to get married to. They do the job of looking before we leap into it. But in our today's society, we believe that we know better. The world has,
So what are you
should I
suggesting?
say?
So what are you suggesting?
So what I'm thinking is that those initial times are times that you factor out that this is going to work. Regardless of what family, friends, relatives think about it, if you think, or how long the relationship has gone, if you think it's not going to work, if you keep catching red flags, regardless of how good every other thing is going, if the communication is not at least 80% or 85% onwards, just forget about the marriage. Don't think, oh, because of the money I'm going to go in, or because of the looks I'm going to go in, or because of whatever the thing. This is a lifetime event, and God has instituted marriage as it's a sanctity. It's something pure. So this idea of I need to get married, I have to get married before this, before that, it is better that you really don't jump into it, get married at a later stage in your life
Okay,
and
Tony.
enjoy it. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think you've made that point. Thank you. I'm sorry for interrupting because I understand that you had made that point and I didn't want you to continue going on it.
Yeah.
And okay, so I just want to come in here and say, okay, so now we're already here. Let's take a walk backward. Let's go backwards. The reason why we face these things in our relationships, I think it's fundamentally there is a way that you handle. Let's use marriage now as a relationship. I am not a religious person, but okay, 1 second, please. Sorry about that. Akin got bounced and he's trying to tell me something and I can't hear him.
Oh,
Okay, so I was going to say that fundamentally there is a way to create a marriage that makes it work. It is that you have to both be, because the question is this: can two work together except they agree? And this is found in the book of life. I look at the Bible as not a book for Christians. I look at it as the book of life, so that whether or not you're a Christian, the tenets in that book will guide you to make the right decisions.
that's
And that's
right.
something that if only we had been taught this when we were little, when we were kids, we will do better. To not look at it as the book that Christians use, to look at it as a book that guides us for life. So you talked about being seeing things from the same perspective, like seeing the 6 and the 9, right? And that's quite right, because here's what happens. I see this thing. I am sure I'm perfect that what I'm seeing is the right thing, right? Next person is seeing it and they are sure that, and they are right, and I am right. But the truth is that we haven't come together to merge our minds. And I don't know that what you are seeing is a 9. I believe that because I'm seeing it as a 6, maybe we haven't even talked about it. So here is the thing. If we can understand that we need to go back to the drawing board. Like, I'm a business analyst, Tony. I don't know if you know that. Um, there are certain things that we do that you have to just have clarity. If we don't have clarity, that's where the errors come in. So
That's
if you're
right.
going, just like you said, if you're going into a contract, which marriage is, which a relationship is, if we come in with, there's another thing again, as human beings, we're inherently selfish, right? So a lot of the times we see things from our own point of view, and that's where it ends for us. Let's go back and remember that now we are individuals in our own rights, and everybody is entitled to see things that the way they see things. So somebody may be coming from an angle where they are seeing marriage as meaning this. I am seeing marriage as meaning that. And I assume that what I believe it is what they believe it is, you know?
That's
And none of
right.
us is wrong. But I don't know that what you're thinking is not what I'm thinking. And so when we now get in there afterwards, we now discover that we were seeing it from different angles all along. And that's why we now get in there and we start butting heads. Now, two good people can make a very bad marriage.
That's
This is how
beautiful.
that
That's
happens.
good.
Yeah.
That's right.
I feel like I'm talking too much. I don't know what's happening with Aki. Let me try again. Just a moment. Okay, that's too bad. He's having problems being with us. All right. So as I was saying, so we're coming from a place where 2 or 3 weeks ago, you should look for that episode here. We talked to a woman. I interviewed a woman who was of the belief that a marriage that had been planned and invite sent out must go on, even though the groom to be had beaten up the wife to be. And she made so many statements. And my understanding from that was I found it mind blowing. And I felt that that had to be here for people to see. It's for us to understand that people are coming into marriage with different things in mind, and they really believe that what they're thinking is the right thing. For her, she believes that marriage is for procreation, and just get married and have children. So you don't know, you're going into marriage with so many things on your mind. You are thinking that marriage is for love, for
Even
somebody
people
else.
that even people that are not married still procreate. So
Yeah, but
that
so for her,
that
it
just
didn't even matter that these people do not have a good relationship. For her,
yeah,
the fact is that we are put on this earth to procreate and go into the world and
yeah.
multiply. That's the way she sees it. So you may be going into marriage with somebody who is thinking like that. They're not thinking about companionship. They're not thinking about having a relationship with you. They're just thinking about using you as a means to procreate. But you are thinking about it as I'm going into marriage for a loving
Exactly.
relationship. And so when you get
Mhm.
there, you are startled when the person is not your companion. You don't
That's
understand
right.
why you are baffled, and you're expecting them to do certain things, and they refuse to do those things because to them that was never part of the equation, right?
Hmm.
So they
Hmm.
had different expectations. So one of the things is that clarity and that oneness of mind. We should go in there with being one. When we think about being one, most of the time people think about the physical aspect, which does not require um, as much at the end of the day as all the other components that will make it possible to live with somebody peaceably. Right. So Sonny, we are having a problem with Akin coming in, and so you can go on if you have something else to say, because otherwise I have so much to say, and I don't want to be like dragging you. Yes.
This particular person
Yeah, we have a
that
call
you
to we have a
okay,
call. Hello,
okay.
you're calling for the show?
Yes, I just want to
Okay.
add one or two questions, if that is okay.
Right.
Yeah. So, from what you have been saying, I'm able to deduce that most of these issues in marriages are even prior. Most times,
Absolutely.
most times they are from the point of selection. And I also understand that it's almost impossible to have 100% compatibility in marriage.
Mhm.
So now, how do we encourage the young ones in choosing a life partner? Because that is the point where most people are getting it wrong. So from experience, like what are the two or three things that you think would help the young ones when they get to that point of having to choose a life partner? What are the three things you think they need to prioritize in order to be able to choose a partner that they are maybe 60, 70% or even 80% compatible with? So that's my first question. Then my second question is, um, you know what? Let's do that. Let's answer that first, then maybe I'll come back with the political one. Okay. So that's my
Okay.
question. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Okay. Sonny, do you want to go?
Yeah, one thing that I know in life is that if you lay the very basic foundation before dropping the house, that house will stay long. And for me, it's faith in God. Once you have faith, you're teaching them those simple rules about life, God, and how He does things in our life. That
Are
is
you
one.
suggesting, so your suggestion is only for
Two,
people who believe in God?
yeah, that
Okay.
is mine. Very, very strongly. Believe in God is absolutely number one.
But
And
Sonny, people who don't believe in God also have good marriages. So what are you talking about?
well, as in regards to his question, I will say for now, one is belief in God. For those that don't believe in God, I'm sure they have belief in something, but whatever that is pioneering or generating their marriage to something good, that's beautiful. But for me, like I said, for me, one is faith in God.
I
Number
don't,
two,
I okay. Because I don't
Okay.
want people to, I don't want people to feel like, what is he talking about? Because when you say that, it's almost as if you're saying that two people who believe in God will get into a marriage, and for sure their marriage is going to be good because they believe in God, which we know that that's
Most of
not true.
80% of the world today have faith in God, be it Christian, Islam, or Buddhism, or whatever. There are still divorce rates in all of this. But when you have a true understanding, when you have it, it's part of what guides your principles. But I am not an expert. I am just dropping what I perceive as one
I
of it.
guess what you mean is to put in context, not just that you say you mouth that you are a believer in God. It's that you actually believe and practice those principles. For instance, the fruits, like honesty, kind of thing, patience, love, trust, and all those things, right? Because many times we can talk about believing in God, but we're not paying attention to those things that are necessary if we actually believe in God. And that's again where we get it wrong, because you see somebody who prays all the time, but in their behavior with the next person and with their neighbor, you're
That
wondering
is
what kind
correct.
of creature is this.
That is correct. First, you see it in their life as they grow up, how they communicate with their peer groups, how they talk, how they are able to solve problems. These are things that make you, that open eyes to like, all right, this guy or this woman is going to make a very good partner when it comes to marriage. But if
Okay.
all those things that,
Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah,
Okay. I know you understand this. I'm only trying to poke you and to bring them out, because here is what you're doing. What you're suggesting is that because the person is a good person, a good Christian, a good believer, and a good practitioner of the faith,
yeah,
they're going
yeah.
to make a good partner. They're going to make a good partner, but maybe not for you, maybe not for that person. So can you narrow it down? Because we want to talk to people about how to get a person that makes sense for them to be in that kind of relationship.
Now, if I don't have what it takes to do a job, let's say I'm applying for a job.
Now
I know
we're
I want,
talking.
no.
Now we're talking.
Huh?
Now we're talking.
No, I know I need a job. I need this job. It's very vital for me. Okay, so one thing I ask myself, or maybe I never did ask, but am I qualified for this? Another person is looking for the same job, but this job wants the best of either of us. Now, this job is probably the spouse, and we are the ones that wants the spouse. Now, I don't know how many of these, how many people have worked there that it has pushed away or not, that has made it to want me or us to get in there. Now, the thing is, am I qualified? What are the things that this job is looking forward that I need? But it's my duty to say, this is me. This is how much I am. This is how much I am worth. Can you do it? Now, these are all communication. Now, the whoever is representing the job is going to come up to me and say, okay, you got this, you got this, you got this, you got this. And these are done during the interview. This is the most crucial period of that relationship between me and this job. If that interview is a success, because this is the verbal time to really know if this person is worth this, you can be dismissed or you can be embraced. But still, that doesn't mean that when you get this job, that everything is going to be all rosy.
Okay, you've talked a lot about just now. You talked a lot about the things that I can do for this person. Am I willing to do them? Am I able to do? Am I qualified? But at the same time, we also have to. It's two people that are getting into this marriage. So the other person, while I'm looking at my qualifications, am I able to do this and that in this relationship? We must also be looking at that other person. Are they able and willing to do these things that are important for me? Because not one person is not more important or more valid than the other. Because sometimes this is one of the things that causes our problems as well. We can look at the things that we're able to do for this person, and we are sure I am able to do all the things that will make a person happy for this person. And then we tell ourselves that because I love this person so much, even if the person is unable to do these other things for me, it's okay. What I feel and have will be big enough and strong enough to carry us through. But the moment we do that, we are already creating a problem for both of us, because we think that we are being noble by doing that. Here is the thing: while you may be okay to not accept, while you may be okay to accept that person who is not able to do those things, have you gone behind to ask yourself, why is this person not able to do those things for me? Is it because that person does not value me that much? So that even if I accept that person that way, it means that I'm accepting someone who doesn't value me that much, which means that by tomorrow, when the problems come up, I'm going to be the only person who is fixing all the cracks in this thing. They're not going to be working on it with me, which means already we're still standing. It's a table that is standing on three legs, so already,
That's
so
right.
we're still in
That's
trouble.
right.
So we,
Yeah.
so we have a perverted understanding of love and sacrifice. The fact that I can do something for the next person does not validate us getting into a relationship where I already know that they can't do those things for me. Can we not try to be so noble about it?
Can you see me?
Hello, welcome. Good to see you,
Okay.
bright and beautiful. Can you turn
Am I?
your
I know it's always this turning of camera
can
thing.
you turn it? Yeah. We're live. We're live. We're live. We have people watching us. So yeah. So it's not noble. Okay, it may be noble, it may be nice and good, but it's not right. So we need to for want of a better description, use wisdom in these things, right? You may be doing something good, but it is not something good for the relationship, because we are strangulating that relationship when we think like that. So we get in there, we are in an unhealthy thing. You understand what I'm saying, right?
That's
So
yeah.
being good is one thing, but is that goodness that we're being, is it good for
Enough.
the relationship? That's where we have to use wisdom. So we need to take ourselves out of the equation and think about each individual there. I always say that to get the best answer for anything, any problem that I'm facing today, what I would say to myself is, I'm going to assume that I am not the one facing this thing. Maybe it's my child who I love so much and I always want the best for. How would I tell them to behave in this situation? Once you do that, and put the other person in those shoes as well, let the other person be your child. Once we do that, 98% of the time, 99% of the time, we're going to arrive at a sensible conclusion, because we get sentimental and we feel like, I know my strengths, I can do this and I can do that. But once you put somebody that you love in that situation, you are going to know the right thing to do, and your sentiments will be out of the window. But the question that he asked, we have to address now. He asked, so what do we say to the young ones? And I want to go back to the foundations
Can
of,
I have an idea of sorry what's
somebody asked us, somebody called in and asked us, because of the things that we had discussed. So his understanding is that the problems with our marriages and relationships stem from the foundations, right? And so he was like, so what do we say to people who aren't yet married to make sure that they have the right foundations? And I'm about to give my own response to that.
wait
So
in context foundation from their respective families or foundation of the relationship itself?
the foundation of a relationship.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So here is my response. My response is that to make that foundation right, we have to come with, again, what the book of life says. We start with, how do you form a marriage? You have to, two cannot work together except they agree. That's
Exactly.
one. And so now we have to love your neighbor as you love yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And what this implies is also transparency. But don't get me wrong when I talk about transparency and honesty. Some people cannot handle the honesty that you share with them. Some people cannot handle the truth that you share with them. So you're just going to have to do that homework of examining the person that you're working with. Is this person going to be able to handle this thing? If they're not going to be able to handle it, you cannot share it with them. If you cannot share it with them, then perhaps you should consider that no matter how much I feel that this person, I want them to be the one in the relationship with me, this may not work. If you're going to work with somebody with whom you cannot share certain things, the attraction, you just have to put it on the back burner. The um, the qualities that you see in them that are so big, you're just going to have to put those things on the back burner, because two cannot work together except they agree. We're talking about foundations now. And remember that people have different ideas of marriage. Some of us have watched the fairy tales, and there's a way that we look at marriage, and that has formed our understanding of what marriage is. Some of us are coming from backgrounds where all we're thinking about is procreation, and that has formed it. Some of us are coming from backgrounds where we have a toxic family and we need to get away from our family, so we're going to get married. Some of us are coming from poverty. We need to marry somebody who is able to support us. So what we need to do is that transparency. Both of us need to understand, why do I want to marry this person? Why does this person want to marry me? Both of us have to have that conversation, and honestly. And the moment that you say to yourself, because again, we are inherently selfish as human beings, the moment you say to yourself that I cannot share this thing with this person because you are trying to protect yourself, you are already hurting yourself. Okay, so we need that transparency. So remember to check this person. Are they able to handle the transparency that I'm about to bring into into our dynamics? And if they're able, then you go ahead and share things so that we know that we're on the same page. Because if I go and marry someone who is only married for procreation, when we get in there, because I'm looking for companionship, I won't get it. They will get their procreation and then they will just toss me aside and treat me anyhow. So we need to be on the same page, right? That's the basic thing. And then I need to know, how does this person see a marriage relationship? What happens in there? I share mine with them and they share theirs with me. And then the final thing is this somebody who, of everybody in the world, of all the difficulties that we will face, do I still want to be with this person if they are sick? It does tell us for better, for worse, for in sickness and in health. And it's not a joke. When I see people who stay with their spouses when they are sick, I don't clap for them. I don't think that they've done anything special. I think that they just entered it on the right note. That's what I think. That person, they are blessed because they found that person for whom they're willing to be there when they are sick. When I see people who leave their spouses because they ran into bad times or they fell sick, I don't see them as bad people. I don't. I understand that they went into that relationship for other things. They were never there for that person with the intention of being there all the time. So we have to understand, you cannot be expecting someone to give you something that they never prepared to give you in the first place. That's what I think. So, Aju,
Okay.
you wanted to say?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just dashing in and I might dash out because I'm quite busy. Okay. In answer to our viewer's question, when you get to the age, first of all, before any single matured person considers marriage, you as a man, you have to be complete in yourself. Complete. You don't need to be needy. You don't need to be dependent. You have to know who you are, what you stand for, what you want from life, and what your purpose is. Sorry, the woman is meant to be your helpmate. You cannot bring another person's daughter into your life, into the equation, if you yourself don't know your direction, don't know your focus, and don't know what you want or where you are going. So, what is she coming to help you accomplish? I beg, what is she coming to help you do in life? So, you see where the first problem is in the area of foundation. The first problem is purpose. When there is misuse of purpose, there's abuse. So what happens is that a guy suddenly gets the memo that because I'm 27, 28, I've graduated from school, I have a job, I managed to buy a car, I got a flat, the next thing is marriage. Excuse me, who says? Who says that is the template? Are you mentally ready? Are you emotionally capable of having a woman in your home? Do you have emotional intelligence?
How are they going to know this? What do you mean?
You know, you have to have a self evaluation of yourself. Ask yourself pertinent questions as a man. Who am I? And who you are is not your job. Who you are is not what you do. Who am I? If you have not been able to answer that question, please don't be looking for wife. Then for the women, you suddenly get the memo that because I've gotten to a certain age, I've graduated from university, I've gotten a job, or I'm doing a business, or even if I'm in my father's house, okay, the biological clock is ticking. What was that? Do you know what you want as a woman? Are you whole and complete on your own? Marriage is a union of two complete human beings, not two half and half. You see that thing that they say 50-50, 80-20. You are 100, I'm 100. I'm bringing my whole deal. I'm bringing everything I have. And they're bringing everything you have. Not one of she. No.
When you say 100, what are you talking about? Are you talking about perfect human beings? What are you talking
I'm
about?
not saying perfect human being. I'm saying you have attained a level of maturity mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Those three places are very important. You must be able to define who you are. You must be able to define where you're going. You must be able to define what your values are. You must be able to define what you want from life.
Okay, how do we do that now? Because the problem that we have is
until you define those four things, until you define who you are, where you're going, what you want from life, until you define those things, please, I beg you in the name of Jesus, don't look for husband, don't look for wife. Don't go and burden someone.
you want to back it up with anything, because I see where you're going, but somebody who hasn't heard stories from somebody else may not quite get what you're trying to say. Do you want to back it up with one or two instances?
What I want to say, as in real life marriages, or
yes, just a little, just something.
Okay, guy meets girl. Guy has job. Guy has car. Guy has money. But guy really doesn't know what he's all about. He has job because mommy and daddy says you've graduated, go and get a job. He has car because he has money, and the next logical thing to do is buy car. He has rented a house and furnished the house because
we have a caller. Sorry. Hello.
Hey, I just want to ask another question. Is that okay?
Right.
Yeah. So she said something about purpose, and yes, many a times from experience as well. I know most men we struggle with having a clear cut purpose. At the point of marriage. This is something. Yeah, this is something most of us, we mature into probably at the fifth, sixth, maybe even 10 years of marriage. We begin to understand, that we have a purpose. So my question is, as a woman who marries a man without a clear-cut purpose in marriage, how does she go about helping this man come up with a purpose? Because I know women need to be led, right?
Yeah.
So a woman married to a man that does not have a purpose, after some time, she begins to get irritated, kind of, and that could bring out some, tension here and there and that will begin to rock the family foundation. So how can we, or what would you advise a woman that finds herself in that situation where the man does not have a clear-cut purpose? Like, how should she go about it? Confront him, take over the family leadership, or just stay quiet? So that's my question. Thank you.
Very valid. Thank you.
Can I?
Yes, please go.
Okay. If there are two characters, since you say I should use examples, there are two characters in the Bible. There's Abigail, who was married to Nabal. And Nabal messed up. And you could tell that he did not understand authority, he did not understand some things. So he was dissing David, the king. Now Abigail, seeing that her husband was going to get the entire family into trouble, because he lacked sense, common sense. She quickly went behind his back, went to David and placated David. She said, don't mind him, oh. He's a fool, oh. But he's my fool. Please, I beg, have mercy on us. Don't, I beg, because of me, please. Now I give this analogy because as a woman, if peradventure you got married early, both of you got married straight out of school or straight almost as soon as you get jobs, remember I said your job does not define your purpose. Because a lot of people interrelate it. They feel this is my job, so this is who I am. No. So if as a woman you're married to a man who does not seem to have clarity, who does not seem to really know what he's up to, the first thing I will beg my sister to do, go on her knees. But even if, look, whether you are a believer or not, whether you are a Muslim, whether you are a Buddhist, whoever the higher power you believe in, whatever higher power you believe in,
Okay.
that higher power, and first of all ask for wisdom to handle your partner and to handle the man that God has given to you, because I want to believe that God gave you that man. Because how a woman who is married to a man who does not seem to know what he wants, how she handles it can either make that man blossom and become a...
I'm sorry. I think you said something just now. Because you want to believe what? You said because you want to believe that God gave him that woman. Is that what you said?
No, I said I want to believe that you as a woman know that God is the one that gave you that husband. That's what I said.
No. Please, let's not do that. Because we
No,
know that some
this
people.
is this
No,
is
that's from her perspective. She
our
said she wants to believe
plea.
that.
I'm
No,
not
but
She's
saying
that
not.
is false. Because on
It's
this program, we have talked about people who targeted people for their own
but
reasons.
the caller said the person is married to someone who does not seem to know what he wants yet, who does not have clarity. The fact that he does not have clarity or does not really know what he wants out of life, does that mean he's not the will of God for her?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not even saying that you're wrong. I just wanted us to put things in context.
Okay.
Because the truth is that no, not all marriages were this one of God has joined this together, no man should put
Okay.
asunder.
Okay.
Let's not be making that mistake. Let's
Okay.
talk about those ones. So now you're talking about
Okay.
that marriage.
Let me address, because there are ladies out there who deep in their hearts, they know that the person they're married to does, he may have funds, he may have money, he may have wealth, but
that they're
there's
not happy.
gross misappropriation of the funds because he does not have direction, he does not
So
have...
that's the one you're talking about. Yeah.
So
So
that's
yeah,
what I'm talking about. I'm
yeah.
talking about a woman who is married to a man and needs to help the man home. Now,
Mm-hmm.
you as a wife, as a woman, women have this innate ability to nurture, this innate ability to bring up, to bring out the best. We have something called intuition, and I beg every man out there, take full advantage of the potential of your wife. Please take full advantage, I repeat it, of the potential of the woman you have in your home. Now, if I are a woman out there and you've recognized that your husband needs help, after you have done your due diligence and called on the higher power to give you wisdom, because I beg you, do not try to bruise your husband's ego by going to him and saying you're an NFA, you don't know what
So
you want.
what should she do? So what
I've
should she do?
done that. Because first of all, to each one there are different instructions. But what I will say is that a wise woman builds her home. We are not asking you to tell your husband what to do. We are not asking you to manipulate your husband. But there is a way, you can stir him. in the right direction.
But
There
that's
is,
what the viewer wants you to tell them. So what is this way? Spell it out. Don't be
each
so vague.
if person knows the person they are married to, there's no way.
Okay, give us some kind
There's,
of guide.
there's, there's no way I'm gonna come.
Yeah, I know, but we want you to give us some kind of clearer guide. That is so vague.
Sorry, peradventure your husband is working in. Sorry, I'm holding with my hand. That's why it seems to me.
Sorry.
Peradventure your husband is working in HR, and you have. I don't know what to do with this phone. Oh. You have recognized the potential of your husband to do better in marketing or to do better, as in, I believe as a woman, you're not just his wife just to procreate and have children for him. You should be able to help him in his career. He should be able to have conversations with you about his job. And in having the conversations, you should be able to recognize these are the potentials, these are the things that this man is actually good at. There's nobody that knows your husband quite like you. Now, there's nothing wrong with putting a little bit of ginger. Have you ever considered moving to this department? Have you ever considered working with that boss? You are not advising him. You are not telling him what to do. You are not trying to control him. Please, you are simply steering him in a direction that you think will benefit him in his career. Then also in the area of, you see, because who your husband moves with, his friends determine to a large extent how far he will go in life, how well he will accomplish in life, and if he will work with purpose, or if he will be an NFA come down who does not know what he's doing. So if you as a woman feel so, and if you feel there's an association that will benefit you,
The comments is she is so smart. She's
eh?
so smart. Then we have a comment saying that you are
I
so
don't know
smart.
the problem now. I'm not on my normal place, so I don't know how to hold this phone. Oh, hey God. Okay.
Did you hear
Thank you,
what I
thank you
said?
so much. Thank you so much for your compliment about me being so smart. It's the grace of God, oh, not my own doing. Sorry. Thank you so much. Now, if you recognize that, look, I have lived with this man so and so years. I have dated him so and so years. This is not the right fit for him. He will do better in this area of his career. And you feel that, look, I feel if he enters this aspect of his career, he will blow. Let me use the term of Nigerians. He will blow. So because you as a wife, you are like, if my husband focuses his energies in this area, in his office, in his career, I mean, he will become a high flyer. So you begin to, a little here, a little, you drop you drop some words, you just drop some things. Women, you don't realize it, but your husbands are listening to you. They are listening very, very well. They are listening to the things you say and the things you did not say. They are watching your body language. They are watching your countenance. They are seeing
Okay.
your attitude.
I like that you're going there.
So as a woman, you can bring out the gold in your husband. Remember, I said gold because when you get this gold out of the ground or diamond, it's full of sand and dirt and yama yama. As in, it is not refined. So, what do you as a woman do? You carry this man. You if you feel there's a certain way he should dress that will cause him to
Okay,
be
can I
oppressed. I'm just saying, as a woman, oh, now you get the man, oh.
can I say
And you,
something now that you went to that direction? Because
sorry, I don't know what to do. How do I do this phone thing now, Uzoma? Please give me advice.
how do you do what?
Can
Do
you
what?
see me? It's as if.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Yeah, so there was something that was playing at the back of my mind. For a man to listen to a woman, sometimes there can be a problem if this woman is not giving him reason to believe in her. Because sometimes when someone is not taking my advice, It may be that they are seeing something in me that makes it difficult for them to respect me. It could be that, either that, or they just want to be resistant because they feel like I'm a man. I cannot let her be in a position where she feels like she can tell me what to do. So we have to examine the man that we're talking to here, right? If this is not the kind
No,
of man who is
but
welcoming.
but
I'm sorry?
if you married your man, if I may use that word, if you married your man recognizes your assets, he recognizes your potentials. So, like I had said earlier, every man should take full advantage of the woman he has in his home. For the men, there's something called ego, and there are actually men that feel my wife cannot advise me, my wife cannot steer me in the direction I should go in life, my wife cannot help me make a decision. I mean, there are actually what they call those things. Is it male when men are very when
Yep,
they are
feminist.
who feel a woman cannot counsel me, a woman cannot advise me.
Because they
You
may want to
understand?
take your advice, but they will do it without giving you that credit, right?
And
Right?
also, yes,
So,
that's true. And that's true. They may want to take your advice, but
but
they
they
don't
don't
want
want
to
you
give
to
you the
know.
credit. But me as a woman, what's my whether you give me credit, you don't give me credit? As far as you've done what I want you to do, I'm cool.
No, no, no. It's still a problem, not because I want the credit, but because it's going to still be affecting our dynamics. So no, we can't be overlooking those things. I'm saying we have to be very careful, okay? In trying not to rock the boat, there are certain things that must be in place. And when you notice it, you have to you have to address it. You have to find a peaceful way to address it. Because when you overlook it because you're thinking doesn't really matter, it does matter. It doesn't matter right here in this, but it's going to matter on the whole at the end of the day. Okay, but we take our battles as they come, just step by step, one at a time. Okay, so yeah, we're talking about everything you said, beautiful, helping and guiding him. But first, we have to note the type of man so that we don't create more issues. You may want to offer some advice here and there. So two things to
No, no, no,
do.
correct that. Not advice. Please, no woman should advise her
Yeah,
husband. I take God beg you,
yeah,
women.
you may want to
No
make some
one is perfect.
suggestions
Uh-huh.
or hints here and there, but starting by noting the kind of man that's and his temperament and how he takes these things so that you know whether or not it's even welcome and how to say it. Because maybe sometimes you can just talk about other things and other people where he will hear the story, he will get the message, but you're not saying it directly to him. But you still have to address this fact that you cannot even communicate with your husband like this on another
But
day.
but do you know half the time it's not in the what you have said, it's not in the words you've used, it is in the delivery, it is in the tone. We women have to learn to use the right tone, to use the right facial expressions, to use the right body
That is
language.
correct.
All these things is what is made up of the word communication, effective communication. Because you may have a message, the message is the correct message, but your delivery makes the person not receive it.
But this goes back to the foundations because I think that naturally any man and woman who come together, there's a message here. Somebody wants to hear the man's perspective, Tony. So you'll be up next after this. Any man and woman who come together in your foundations, you if you don't do what naturally comes to human beings, that's when we end up in these situations. I don't see a man and a woman in a proper setting where a woman uses that kind of tone to a man. They already have a lot of other issues, problems that they're going to be having to deal with. Because if you look at people who are in a sensible union, you are not going to find a woman who is talking crazy to her man. You know,
Uzoma,